Well, right after the show yesterday, we got some pretty big news in baseball. So we're going to get into that in 1 minute. I just want to point this out at the top of the show. I was watching baseball last night. I'm checking out the Mets game. They can't find Pete Alonso. Where's Pete? Did you hear about this?
He was late. You got a pitch clock violation.
You got a pitch clock violation.
You got a poop clock violation.
I think so. And they were saying on both broadcasts, I think, maybe we make an exception if there's a bathroom issue going on and he shows up seconds late. The umpires have multiple minute meeting. They make the decision to give the pitch clock violation. Carlos Mendoza, Mets manager, goes out to chat with the umpires. Probably 5 to 7 minutes later, we resume baseball. So I'm glad that we really helped to speed up the game in that moment. Kratz. Come on.
Yeah, we weren't really. It was. I mean, the point was to speed the game up, but the also point was, you know what? It was a defensive clock violation. Hey, if they want to throw the pitch without Pete being out there, throw the pitch. There's no rule that you have to have all your guys out on the field. My favorite part, first base coach, old Senor Brock at first for the Pirates, threw Pete his glove as he was running in like he was reading the option.
That's epic. Yeah, Jesse Winker from the dugout doing the thumbs down at the umps. I mean, if you're going to do it and that's your decision, that's fine. I'm super pro pitch clock, but this to me seemed like one of those exceptions where the umpire has discretion and can be like, everyone saw the poop homer video.
Not only that, but like just have some feel for life. There are times where people have to do that. They have things that come up and you have to use the restroom or whatever Pete was doing.
And it doesn't happen often. Right? The fact that I'm bringing this up means that it was an outlier. We tweeted about it late last night. So have a feel. And if you're going to still make that decision and be a hard ass, then.
But if he had to really go, and it was like 4 pitch clock violations and led to a walk.
Yeah.
It could have happened. I mean, if he was really stuck in there, they would have had a problem.
Stupid.
There's no benefit for either team. There's no benefit for either team. It's like a high school team. The bus gets caught in traffic, and then the umpire's like, nope, got to start the game on time. Like, just have feel. Just have feel. Let things happen. He's not trying to do it. It's not like maybe he is a habitual pooper. Everybody poops. That's what the book says.
That is true. You know, most people do many times per week. So for Pete, they have a meeting for a long period of time to make a decision on how strict they were going to be. At least if you're going to be strict, just say it and go. That's it. That's the whole point of the violation.
They should have just had a meeting and said, we've all been there. Let's give them a minute.
Yeah.
And they could have come up with anything. The umpire could have said he got something in his eye. I mean, there was a million different things he could have come up with instead of a pitch clock violation.
If someone was taking advantage of the rule, everyone would know about it, right? Like, you know how refs know, this guy always just tries to take charges, watch out for him, or in baseball.
LeBron flops every time anyone gets within 5 feet of him. Right. He rolls around the ground.
If LeBron is rolling on the floor acting like his life just ended,
nothing
probably happened. Yeah, exactly. He just likes to act. It's weird. But anyway, for Pete, if he did this every week, everyone would know. And the umps would be like, we're not doing this. But this is one time. And it happened one other time in 2023, and he swung at the first pitch and hit a home run off Hunter Green. So let's go, Pete. We're with you. And when Pete comes on soon, we'll have a chat about this because this is the
hopefully he comes on late. Hopefully he comes on late too, because we'll know where he is if he shows up late to the call.
He
told me he'd come on. We just got to call him.
Yeah, we got to get him on soon, actually, after this incident.
He told me on Saturday that he'd love to come on. He hadn't been on for a while, and he wants to come back on. So we'll get him.
We got to crack the case here. Pete, coming soon. Charge the mound time.
He's charging the mound.
Pete Rose is now eligible to be voted in as a Hall of Fame member. So are other deceased players that were on the league's permanently ineligible list. Pete passed away in September. His oldest daughter and his former lawyer met with Commissioner Manfred in December. Commissioner Manfred had a meeting about a month ago with President Trump, who is a big fan of having Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. Add it all up, the commissioner comes out like, just kidding. Permanently ineligible actually means that when you pass away, you are now back in reinstated and able to be voted into the Hall of Fame if those members in that committee vote you in. Shoeless Joe Jackson and the 1919 Black Sox say, finally, thank you. Shoeless Joe's been dead for like 75 years.
Yeah, he's been dead a long time.
He's like, wait, you just decided this? I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So why now?
I'm gonna let Kratz go first on this one because I'm gonna be a minute.
You need to.
I'm gonna be a Pete, and I'm gonna get my poop on once Kratz is done.
Well, I'm gonna let you cook. All I have to say is Manfred's trying to make a name for himself in this. I think he had some manipulations from people that I'm sure AJ is going to talk about. But you know what? I guess, if the right people bark up the right tree, you'll get a raccoon to come out of the tree at some point. But he's made this decision. He wants this to be his mark. I don't think he thought about it lightly. And every commissioner has some good things that they do for the game, some bad things that they do for the game. I'm not sure where this stands because there's some other people that haven't gotten into the Hall of Fame yet because of the stigma for things that they've done, not necessarily gambling, other things. Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, other steroid guys. But I do believe it's not the Hall of Morality. It is the Hall of Fame. So Rob made his decision.
The Hall of Morality is fine. But let's be serious here for a minute. If the writers are going to take a stand and say, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, who never tested positive, by the way, never tested positive, they can't get in, then whoever is on this committee that gets to elect Pete Rose, because let's not forget, Joe Morgan, who was Pete Rose's teammate for a long time, said, those guys can't get in because they did steroids, and he was like the lead guy in all those committees saying they can't get in. So whoever gets to vote on Pete Rose, let's not forget, Pete Rose was not exactly clean when he played. And I'm not talking about steroids because I don't know that, but there were other things that are now banned called greenies and amphetamines that he admitted to.
But all the guys took them.
Okay. Yeah, but there's guys that took them that are in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Right? So we can, and again, go ahead. Sorry, Kratz.
No. There was other guys that took them, but it's against the rules. Greenies are against the rules. Yes or no?
They are now. They weren't at the time.
Okay. So why? Yeah. So, you can't just elect. I agree with you. You can't just elect one thing. Well, this guy took this, so he could, he shouldn't be in. I agree with you, AJ. Totally.
There's trust me. There are guys in the Hall of Fame, and this is not breaking news, that have done stuff, and they are still in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, there are roid out of my mind guys
that are in the Hall of Fame
totally.
Right now.
I want to stay on task though.
But okay, so here's my problem with this, with what happened with Pete Rose. I have been firmly against this from the get-go. I've said it on this show. I've said it everywhere. And anyone that'll listen to me, that I am against him being reinstated. When he was originally permanently banned, and I've looked it up, and it was permanently banned. Okay? Permanent. That doesn't stop it when you die. Right? So now they want to say lifetime ban. Okay. Like you said, Scott, where are the Black Sox? Why weren't they in? Because Shoeless Joe Jackson, being an argument, should be in the Hall of Fame too. Mm-hmm. Okay? Now, he definitely would have been if he didn't get banned and got to play a few more years. He'd definitely be in.
He should be in then.
Agreed.
Shoeless
he should be right in with Pete Rose
if
they're going to put him in. The thing about this is, Kratz, you know this. You've been in the clubhouse. You have to read. They read you Article 21. They make you sign Article 21 like you do not bet on baseball. Okay? Where's the repercussions when you do something? What's the repercussion?
Well,
and don't say, he died, now he gets in. He still gets in, and he still is permanently there. It's not like he goes away.
But he doesn't get to experience it. He's not alive.
So what? His family gets to experience.
Sure.
And it means more to the family, I think, for a lot of these guys than it does for them. And right? So the family gets to celebrate it, and his legacy gets, which is fine. But you know what? If you want to do, Pete Rose is the all-time hits leader. Barry Bonds is the all-time home runs leader. Put him in. Roger Clemens has the most this and that in baseball history. Put him in. Why? Why are we not putting him in? Because one guy says no because they're more moral than these other guys, allegedly? It's not. It's the problem with Article 21 is you have to follow it, and you know what it is. And the biggest problem you can have in any sport is guys betting on baseball and taking the integrity out of the game. Because I said this earlier. I did another show, and I said if somebody got to me betting, and Kratz I think will back me up, and let's say I knew the over-under in a game, okay? And let's say the over-under was 8 in this game, and it's 8-0 in the 9th inning, and there's a runner on third and 2 outs, and I'm catching, I just missed one.
Yep.
Guy scores. Boom. Nobody would have any idea. I missed one. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, clanked it.
Clanked it. Just cost me the shutout. But I or one of my buddies has money on this game. They just made a lot of money. Like, you can't have the integrity of the game questioned at all. That's why this is so important. And now to say, oh, well, it's okay, he died. And by the way, the argument is he bet on every time they won. Okay. Well, the games he didn't bet on to win, did he think they were going to lose? So why did he had to bet on every game?
He didn't bet on every game.
Okay, so then he had to have feelings.
Correct.
He had to have inside information, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah. He was betting. Betting
but that's
on
what I'm
wins
saying.
and
So
losses.
you have
No
the
doubt.
integrity of the game is number one. Like, look at other sports. College basketball has had a bunch of it where point shaving and this and that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What happens? They get kicked out. You should. Like, you should not. If you go against the integrity of whatever sport you do, any job you do, like if you're insider trading, you should be freaking heave-hoed.
Yep.
Because you have outstanding knowledge that nobody else has, and you can make bets, or you can help your friends make bets.
I just want to be clear that the league is okay with Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens being voted into the Hall of Fame. They're eligible. They have not been voted in by the writers or the whatever committee. I don't know the names of all the committees, but Pete Rose is going to have a chance with whatever the committee is in December of 2027. Yeah. He's got to get 12 out of 16 votes. Some writers are on that panel. A lot of former players are on that panel. I'll use one example. Tim Kirkjian, who's on this show pretty frequently, said that Frank Robinson was a dear friend, late great, legend in our sport. And he said, I won't even show up to the Hall of Fame ever again if they let Pete in. That's the number one rule in all of sports that you cannot violate, or it makes our sport acting. It completely blur the lines. There's no difference. So for him, he was like, that's my hard stance. Kratz, I think a lot of other players feel the same way, like AJ does. So we're talking about this, and the president talked the commissioner into switching the rule and the commissioner playing judge. That's fine. That was the decision that Commissioner Manfred made. He's trying to please a lot of people. He wants to keep the antitrust exemption so that MLB can be a monopoly. Cool, get it. He's a businessman. He's the CEO. That's his job. Got it. He took the onus now and pushed it on the Hall of Fame, which is fine, right? So do you think, Kratz, that a committee of former players, most of them with a lot of dirt in their spikes, are going to vote Pete Rose into the Hall of Fame?
Nope. I don't.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to vote him in. I think unless in the next 2 years, the stance somehow softens by everybody just looking at his stats and his numbers and what he did in the game. That's the only way I see it happening. I don't see it happening just because of what AJ says. I think the majority of players feel the way AJ does. This is why players get pissed off at owners who don't try to put a competitive team out on the field, who don't care about winning, because as a player, whether you made the big leagues or you almost made the big leagues, you cared very much about what happened out on the field. You cared very much about the outcome of the game. And if there was any kind of question that somebody was throwing that game, that somebody had ulterior motives, you're just, it's like, I can't even look at, like, you can't even look at it the same. You just say what you said about being actors. Like, that's all it is. It's just entertainment. Just like AJ's belt that he has behind him. It's fun entertainment, but it's not a competitive environment. Competition is what drives players. And if you allow something like this to happen, it feels disingenuous. But what level of grace are we supposed to have? No crying in baseball, but maybe there's forgiveness.
And also, by the way, did Pete Rose ever apologize for this? Did he ever, before he passed away, was there ever like a sincere, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done this? It was all like to sell a book or a movie, whatever. Like, it was never like a, and here's the thing that gets me. He accepted this. He signed it. He knew what he was doing.
Well, because he got caught.
But he could have fought it. He could have said, oh, but he signed the permanent ineligible list.
Because he was guilty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So he knew what he was signing. It's not like he signed a paper. If he wanted to, he could say, well, when I die, maybe I can come back.
Right.
No, he signed a paper that said, I am permanently ineligible. And he knew it, and he played it up, too. Let's not forget. I mean,
yeah, of course.
Cooperstown weekend, Pete's signing autographs in Oneonta right next door. Like, come on. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing.
Of course.
I mean, he played it up.
But let me ask you this. There are a lot of people that want him in because he was a big part of their childhood or their fandom.
So what? So was Barry Bonds. So was Roger Clemens.
Good point. If you polled the people, what percentage of baseball fans, obviously we're just playing hypotheticals here, do you think would want Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame?
A lot.
A lot, right?
It's a lot.
I would say over the 75% number we're talking about.
Yes.
I would say probably 80 plus percent, 80, 85%. What do you think? Most people I talk to, young or old, are like, yeah, I want him in. Because also I think a lot of people just look at something from a while ago and they don't care and they just want other people to be happy. I'm just presenting the fandom case because there are going to be a lot of people that watch this later on and be like, you guys are being too strict. You guys are just like the umps you were making fun of at the top of the show. Just let him in. He passed away. It's over.
I disagree. I can't disagree more. I just can't. I'm sorry.
And I can see it through my dad's eyes. My dad's favorite player was Pete Rose growing up. He wore 14 because of Pete Rose. I wore 14 because my dad wore 14. Like, it was that's what fans view him as. And I think they hear the gambling stuff and they're like, oh man, that's tough. I remember how hard he played. I remember when he came to Philadelphia and became the highest paid athlete in the world at the time when he signed with Philadelphia. Like, that's what fans remember, and that's fine. As a player, it's hard. It's hard. I guess we have to forgive people, but they also have to ask for forgiveness too. And I don't know.
Manfred's a lawyer, so he's just going to play that game. In 2022, after receiving a letter from Pete Rose, who was asking for forgiveness, the commish said, quote, I believe that when you bet on baseball from MLB's perspective, you belong on the permanently ineligible list. Fast forward to now, he says, in my view, a determination must be made regarding how the phrase permanently ineligible should be interpreted regarding Rule 21, which involves betting on baseball in the sport. He said, obviously, a person no longer with us cannot represent a threat to the integrity of the game. Cool. Why didn't you make that decision many years ago?
But it's not about just what he could do to the game. It's about what going forward it could do to the game. That's kind of what my point is. Like, I understand Pete Rose can't do anything anymore. He's passed away.
Yeah.
You know,
he set a new precedent, though. He said, if you bet on baseball, you are out of the game until you die, and then
you come
back in. That's what he just
That's exactly what he said.
Manfred switched the rule. Now, this is important, okay? What I would like President Trump to do is have another phone call with him and say, we need to get rid of certain owners in Major League Baseball that are ruining the sport. Because apparently he does whatever he says. So I think he should call him up and be like, hey, dude, now that we got that part out of the way, I have some other issues. The city of Pittsburgh is in tears. We need to fix that problem. Denver, Colorado, showing up, but not happy. Let's fix that problem. I mean, clearly, Manfred just flip-flopped. His whole career, he was in one stance. And then just like that, one meeting, it changes. Great. Let's work on some other things.
Agreed. I can't. I don't know. This gets me fired up. I got people that I know from Cincinnati like, oh, Pete's going to get in. And I'm like, why? Why? And then they 42.56, whatever it is. I'm like, cool, 7.65, whatever Bonds has. He ain't in. And when you ask these same people, they're like, oh, he shouldn't be in. He did steroids. Pete did some stuff too now, let's be honest. That isn't legal anymore either.
Well, to be continued. We have guests joining us that will talk about this topic. Coming up, though, we'll go back to the current game. The Los Angeles Dodgers lost another starter to the injured list, Fabian Ardaya, joining us next to break it down. Hey, FT fam. HelloFresh is America's #1 meal kit, Cam, because we're busy and we would like all of the ingredients to cook up something nice and make us look like elite chefs at home.
You know what I do? I've got kids in basketball, I've got soccer, I've got baseball. And when they get home, there's a fresh meal and they think, oh, Dad, he's so great. Well, no, it's not me. It's HelloFresh. It's nutritious. It's packed full of good nutrients. The kids have good energy, and they look at me like I'm the greatest dad in the world. So make sure you go grab that HelloFresh because you know what? It's doing my family all the good.
Cook up dishes like chicken Dijon and pecan crusted trout, over 100 seasonal snacks, sides, and treats as well. Feel great with meals that fit your spring schedule and make the season even more delicious. Go to HelloFresh.com/FT10FM now to get 10 free meals with a free item for life. 1 per box with active subscription. Free meals applied as discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan. Hey, Corey Kluber, out of the game for a couple years now, is back. Special assistant pitching, Guardians. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
That tracks.
Yeah, good. Special assistants, great job. You can get one.
It is, right? What do you do?
No one knows. That's the best part about it. Nobody really knows what they do.
What I've heard is you get a phone call and they ask you if you want to do something like show up to an event or talk to somebody within the organization about something, and then they say okay, and you get some money for it. Is that accurate? Pretty
much. And then you might have to fly and see a minor leaguer every once in a while or a draft prospect or something. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not a well-defined role in an organization. It's kind of whatever they need you to do, you do, and they pay pretty good usually for them.
Kratz, I heard something interesting. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's the only part that was not true. You said they get paid some money. They get paid a good amount of money from the people that I know that are special assistants.
What I heard about the Guardians is some of their starters are struggling on the development side, like Gavin Williams, because they're kind of the opposite of the Rays, who just say, like, let's get you in the zone. Guardians are like, let's get this pitch in this spot. Works really well for Shane Bieber, Corey Kluber, etc. And it's worked really well for many of their guys, but not all of their guys. So anyway, that was
not every pitcher can pitch the same. That's also something.
Not every pitcher has elite command either.
Also true. That's what I'm saying. Not every hitter hits the same.
Right. Oh, wow. Another starting pitching injury for the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Let's ask Fabian. Should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Let's ask him. Boom. But then we'll go to the Dodgers.
Okay. Fabian Ardaya joining us, by the way, covers the Dodgers for The Athletic. But yeah, go ahead, Fabian. What do you think?
I think I agree with you guys. It sets a kind of a bad precedent. Just sort of there's a lot of unintended consequences that will probably come from this decision, and I guess we'll see how they play out over the next couple of decades.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Do you think he gets voted in?
It depends. I think it depends on who's on the committee, everything like that. I think it always depends on who's on the committee when it comes to these kind of votes post the writers' vote. So
that is true, right? Are there people that were former teammates, played against them, stuff like that, right? Wasn't the famous one Harold Baines?
Harold Baines got in because Jerry Reinsdorf and Tony La Russa were on a 5-person committee, and they were 2 of the votes or whatever it was, and they kind of were like, we're not leaving till Harold gets in. That was the story. I don't know if it's true. I love Harold. Hall of Famer he is a Hall of Famer, so he must be one. But that is a famous story that they basically locked everybody in the rooms like, we're not leaving until you vote yes on Harold.
And that's fine, but then there are a lot of other players that would like to be reconsidered.
Yes.
All right, let's dive into the Dodgers. Fabian, what is going on with the starting rotation now that Roki Sasaki hits the shelf with a shoulder impingement? Are they running out of starters in May?
It certainly kind of feels like it. I think they've already had to run a couple of bullpen games. They have another one scheduled for Thursday. Some of this obviously was kind of by design when you kind of mapped out how this rotation would look. You knew there was going to be a lot of flux. You knew that guys were going to go down, guys were going to come off the injured list, everything like that. But obviously to have this big of pitching injuries this quickly, I don't think anyone anticipated that. I don't think anyone anticipated having Tyler Glasnow and Blake Snell and Roki Sasaki all down. And obviously they're going to get some help soon. Clayton Kershaw is going to come off the IL on Saturday, but this is not a position the Dodgers were hoping to be in the second week of May.
Are we supposed to 100% believe that every IL stint for Dodgers pitchers is the same IL stint that it is for other teams? I know it's kind of turned into that. Like Glasnow's actually, his is extended more. It kind of happened last year where he stayed on the IL longer. Snell's is extended longer, but we know Sasaki's not going to throw 150 innings this year. So do we just 100% believe that all of these injuries are like, yes, 100%, like this is definitely IL worthy?
I think the Dodgers are more willing to err on the side of caution with guys than maybe most teams are, just because of the position that they're in. Like, they can afford to play the long game with a lot of these guys. I know that Dave Roberts has kind of used that phrase a lot, especially when it comes to Blake Snell, because they understand they didn't sign him to get him through July or through August. They signed him for October. Same thing with Glass now. They're willing to sort of kick the can. If you're feeling anything, you're going to go on the IL, and probably for an extended time, just to make sure that everything gets rooted out. And sort of to Sasaki, yeah, absolutely. I think this was honestly comes probably at a good time also, just for them to sort of give him a breather, give him a reset, give him a chance to work with their development staff and rework the mechanics, rework the delivery, get him into a place where he can be effective on a big league mound, because we were seeing obviously the velocity was trending down, and I'm sure the shoulder had something to do with that, but also just the rest of the arsenal was not in a good place, and he was getting hit hard as a result. So a chance to get a breather, a chance to maybe have a minor league stint without being a minor league stint, or essentially extend him to Arizona, work with your guys. Like, I think it's a chance for a reset in a sense for him, and also for certain guys, it's a chance to like have a breather, manage things, load manage your way kind of through a season, which the Dodgers are in a unique position to be able to do.
Fabian, didn't they know this though going in with Roki? Wasn't this a thing with him that they knew? So why now? Well, I mean, I know he's hurt, but why now? Like, and by the way, the Dodgers are leading the league in shoulders this year. Before it was elbows, now it's shoulders. So you said that he gets to go to his development. Well, I don't know. There's a lot of arm injuries, and the Dodgers even came out in the spring and said, "Hey, we need to look at it." But for Roki, I know his velo was down. His velo was down last year. How worried are they that he might not bounce back from this?
I think they should be at least somewhat worried, especially because this was a shoulder issue he was dealing with last year too. So, like, is this a chronic thing? Is this a thing that can be corrected? Is this something that the way he throws is going to lead him to shoulder issues and the velocity is not going to get back to where it is? Yeah, there is absolutely some concern, which I think, especially when you're looking at the velocity numbers, especially because that fastball relies so much more on the velocity than maybe your average fastball, just because of the characteristics and everything like that. So yeah, like, they have to get the shoulder right first. But yeah, I think they didn't. They expected to be in a position where they had to develop him, but I don't know if they expected him to be maybe at this stage of things in May. I think they were hoping to maybe work with him on the third pitch, that the velocity would be maybe 98 to 100 as opposed to 94 to 96, and all of a sudden you're looking at different issues. Like, I don't think they expected the command to be as poor as it has been to start this season. So obviously, there's a huge adjustment coming to Major League Baseball. They kind of learned that with Yoshinobu Yamamoto last year. But Yamamoto was able to make those adjustments that much more quickly because he had an established track record in Japan. He was 25 years old, a three-time Sawamura Award winner. Roki Sasaki didn't pitch a whole lot in Japan. So, like, there's a lot of development on that end of things that they had to do before even adjusting to Major League Baseball. So, yeah, I think there's more of a learning curve than maybe the Dodgers originally anticipated. But they have to sort of use this time to kind of first get him healthy and then figure out exactly what they can get done this season and what has to get pushed forward to the future.
Is there a chance they option him to AAA? Because after he comes back?
It doesn't sound like it. It sounds like they've been pretty steadfast, like it's going to be in the big leagues, but I do wonder if there's a part of them that sort of maybe kicks the can down the road when it comes to the recovery, the IL stint, give him some time maybe in Arizona, give him some time in lower pressure environments to kind of work through some things, and that gives them some time maybe to see who's healthy, who's in the rotation. How does Clayton Kershaw look? How does Emmett Sheehan look once he gets back in the rotation? How does Blake Snell or Tyler Glass now look once they hopefully get back in the rotation? So give them a chance to see who's pitching well and when, and then they can sort of make that determination. But I mean, Dave Roberts said it last weekend when he was struggling. He said it last night when he went on the IL. He doesn't anticipate Roki Sasaki going into minor leagues at any point in terms of being officially options. I wonder if there's a way that maybe they finagle it when it comes to being on the IL, going through a rehab assignment, an extended one. But yeah, it doesn't sound like he's officially going to be optioned at any point.
Okay, let's run through some of these names, by the way. Gavin Stone, Brewster Gratterall, Michael Grove, Edgardo Enriquez, Blake Trinan, Emmett Sheehan, Tommy Edman, Kyle Hurt, River Ryan, Teoscar Hernandez, Tyler Glasnow, Blake Snell, Michael Kopech, Jake Geloff, Clayton Kershaw, Roki Sasaki. That's the list of people on the IL currently for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Most teams would fold under this. The Dodgers are playing better. It's amazing to me. So let's get a little good news. Clayton Kershaw's coming back this weekend. What can we expect from old Kersh? I know he was throwing like 87 miles an hour, which velocity never was his thing. I mean, it was mid-90s, but it was all about a slider and a curveball. What can the Dodgers expect when Kersh comes back?
I think they're expecting him to pitch like Clayton Kershaw. I think that's the thing. Like, he looked pretty good coming off shoulder surgery last year until obviously that last outing where the toe really kind of gave way. That's what kind of tanked the numbers. But he looked like vintage Clayton Kershaw. Obviously, the velocity is not going to be what it always has been, but like the command is really good. He's able to pitch that slider off the fastball effectively, and the shoulder feels good. He's sort of said that throughout this process. Like, the arm has felt so good. That's why he was willing to get the knee and the toe surgeries to keep pitching, just because of how good the arm felt. And as long as that's the case, like, he's a guy who, I know it's kind of cliche to say, but like, he just knows how to pitch. I've seen the guy with half a shoulder sort of go through an outing and be able to sort of pitch effectively and go deep into games. So he's a guy who is a stabilizer as long as he's out there on the mound. Obviously, being out there on the mound has been more of the issue the last few years, but I think as long as he's able to be in there, like, he's going to be kind of an important piece for the Dodgers to just get through the summer, and we'll see sort of where things stand when guys get healthy. But he's a guy who's going to help you get through a season at the very least, and know exactly what you're going to get. And obviously, he has some milestones in front of him. It's going to be an interesting few stretch of starts for him. But like, I think I'm expecting him to pitch pretty well, actually.
I mean, Kershaw has never not pitched well. Like, you just look down his page and it's just 2.5 ERAs for life. But is there a chance he stays on a 5-day rotation because of the fact that before it was you had a Friday night starter, then you had a Saturday night starter, and guys were kind of on like a 6 or 7 day rotation? Does Kershaw want to come back, or does Dave Roberts and the Dodgers want to put him on his traditional 5-day rotation?
I think there'll be a little bit of maybe pitching on a 5-day rotation, pitching a 6-day rotation, everything like that. Like, obviously, this first start's going to be on 5 days worth of rest. Clayton Kershaw's kind of acquiesced a little bit to that in recent years. There was a stretch, obviously, when the shoulder was going, that he would pitch once a week. So, like, obviously, they're in a position where they kind of have to make do with the starters that they have. There's not going to be as many off days as there were in April, as we just saw that 10-game road trip where they kind of had to adjust guys' pitching schedules, including Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki. Yamamoto is probably going to be pitching more frequently on 5 days rest than maybe he was at the beginning of the season, when he was usually on 6 days of rest. That's something he did a lot last year. So I think there's going to be transition more to, I don't know if it's a traditional every 5-day turn, but like at least something that helps you get through this part of the season. And obviously we'll see how things look probably after the All-Star break once Shohei Ohtani's back, because that's a guy who maybe opens the door for you to have a 6-man rotation just because of what he does in terms of your numbers and how many pitchers you're allowed to have because of the two-way player rule. So Clayton Kershaw, I think, at least to start, will probably be bouncing between maybe a 5-day turn or a 6-day turn.
Okay, how important is Yamamoto now? I mean, he's like the most important player on this team all of a sudden, right? Because he's the one guy that goes out every 5th day and just shoves.
Yeah, I mean, he's been their best pitcher this season. I think one of the best pitchers in the National League, and he's incredibly important. We've seen him be basically the kind of guy he was in Japan, the kind of guy who got the richest contract ever for a pitcher. And this is exactly what the Dodgers were kind of hoping he'd be. Obviously, coming off the shoulder last year, I'm sure there was some trepidation, like, all right, how is this going to look? How is he going to hold up? And all indications have been he's held up great. He's looked great. He's looked even better. And it's not necessarily like a thing where like the velocity's up or anything like that, but he's just found a way to make all of his pitches that much sharper. The way he's attacking hitters, he has a lot more confidence. The command has been really sharp. Like, he has been incredible for them, and he is the most important pitcher on the staff right now. He is the staff ace that they kind of paid him to be.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Before we let you go, by the way, I see your helmet behind you. I'll take and raise you one.
Oh, yeah. Go Devils. I went to ASU.
I see that. I saw that behind you. This is the Pat Tillman.
Oh, I love that.
With the brother and all the people that died. So, yeah, I saw yours behind you. So, I figured I'd pull out one of my helmets.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Yeah.
Super
Is this
cool.
the digital camo? Is that what
Digital
they call
camo,
it?
yeah.
Kratz, right? Digital camo?
Digi camo. Yeah.
Digi camo.
Slick looking
One
helmet,
day.
though.
Yeah.
Good looking helmet.
Yeah, it is.
One day
There you
I'll
go.
tell my story about Pat Tillman connection to my baseball career, but it's not here nor there.
I would love to hear it sometime. Well, Fabian, appreciate the time, man. Everyone check out his articles. Really great work covering the Dodgers in The Athletic. Check out what he's bringing to the table on Twitter as well. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
FT right back to talk about the magic of Javier Báez. Before that, Dodgers Territory is part of the FT network. Fabian's been on there as well. There's Kike Hernandez with nice flow, talking to Clint and Alana. Make sure you check out that show. I watched their post-game show last night after the Dodgers were punched in the face by the A's, but still, like AJ said, they're fine. They're fine.
Doing just fine.
They're fine. I mean, they need some starters, but they're fine. We'll be This is a straightforward show, so I'm going to be very straightforward with everyone about PXG. Fastest way to improve your performance on the golf course is to get yourself a PXG golf fitting. Go in there and let the experts help you.
I've been using PXG for a few years now, Scotty. They are perfect. I love the way they feel. They fit them perfectly to my swing. They weighted them. They put grips in them. They put shafts in them. They use their heads, and they fit my swing beautifully. They have definitely improved my game. They just recently hooked me up with their new Allen putter, which is off the chain. I was draining putts the other day, left and right. So I definitely say, go get your fitting at PXG. Nobody goes golf the way PXG does.
Yes, and for a limited time, you could save up to 20% on your entire order. Head over to pxg.com/foul. That's pxg.com/FOUL to save up to 20% on your entire order. pxg.com/foul. Restrictions apply. See site for details. Hey, we're back. We are running a poll on YouTube right now. Should Pete Rose be inducted into the Hall of Fame? And it's 55% no, 45% yes, right now, from a small group.
AJ manipulates the masses, just like Caesar.
That's right. I'm like the gladiator. Are you not entertained by Pete Rose cheating or not cheating? Gambling?
Should he be in? Thumbs down.
No. My opinion.
Will his
What's your take?
will his record ever be broken?
No.
Which one?
Because hits don't matter anymore. Nobody will ever come close to that. 42, 56, hits don't matter. The strikeout record will continually be broken, but that's it. The pitcher strikeouts and the hitter strikeouts for careers.
I don't think pitchers. I don't think anybody will ever reach number one, and I don't think anybody will ever pass Nolan Ryan.
For K's?
Yeah.
How many does he have? 3,000 what? No, the one that's never going to be broken is Cy Young with his 511 wins or whatever it is.
Oh,
no one's
God.
sniffing.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I don't know if anyone getting to 300 wins.
No one's
until
going to
the
get
game
Cal
change.
Ripkins because everybody needs to load manage.
Right.
So that one's pretty safe.
There's some really safe
Nolan
records.
Ryan's strikeouts are like 5,000
yeah,
or something.
5,000, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kershaw's trying to get to 3,000.
Right. And I mean, this is his 18th season.
Yeah.
I'm on the list.
Me too. Real life problem, Scott.
Oh,
Real life
man.
problem. Like my microphone wire was caught under my chair wheel when I jumped up to get the helmet.
But here
It's
you are.
pulling on my shirt. Just real life problems.
He's back.
Wait. Do we have to have a delay? Did you have to go poop? Is that what it was? Because we can stop the show. We have good feeling. You and Pete, if we need to go poop.
That would be a violation.
It'd be a pitch clog. It'd be a poop clog violation.
That's right. Well, if you think that's bad, try signing a 6-year, $140 million contract and then being pretty much terrible for the first few seasons. But then all of a sudden making the ultimate Disney comeback story. The name is Javi Báez, El Mago. It's magic. 2 3-run homers in yesterday's walk-off win for the Tigers over the Red Sox. The Tigers are the best team in the American League, 28-15. They've won 10 of 13 games. Javi Báez might be the biggest reason why they're this good. He is playing close to, I would say, elite center field. Every game I've watched with him out in center field, he's basically making every play and then some. Metrics agree with me. Pedro Martinez saying he's got the Tigers against the Padres in the World Series. We'll get to the Padres. But anyway, they were down 2 runs, the Tigers, in the bottom of the 11th. And El Mago hits his second 3-run homer of the game. Both of them off breakers. He's at a .319 batting clip, .357 on base, .513 slugging percentage. He looks a lot like the shortstop version of that guy who was on the Cubs, who did swing at a lot of pitches, but had power, had a high batting average. Oh, wait. He looks exactly like prime Javi Báez again. Got to give him credit.
I give him a lot of credit. All I had to do was move him to center field. But let's not talk about Javi Báez. We will talk about Javi Báez and how great he is. Can we talk about the catcher's reaction, Narvaez, when he gave up the homer? He was like set up a foot off the plate, and they threw it over here. And if you haven't seen this, if we can run the clip again, just watch the catcher's reaction. This is the best. He's just like, are you kidding me? Oh, he's like, you got to be kidding me. As soon as he hits it, that's the best. Like, there's a couple. There's the one, I think it's David Bodie hit a walk-off grand slam for the Cubs. I think it was against the Nats, and I think Matt Wieters was the catcher. And as soon as the pitch was thrown, he hit. He just like, you just know as a catcher, as soon as you see it, there's pitches that leave guys' hand. You're like, you want to be able to jump in front of the hitter, and you're like, I'll take catcher's interference because that one might not come back. And then they hit it, and you're just like, ah.
You can see the meatball.
Oh, right, Kratz? Am I not wrong?
There was a catcher, I forget his name. He came up with the Orioles. Very, very energetic guy. That was when the Orioles were bad. You can go back-to-back home runs. He takes his mask and spikes it before they even pan out of the
That's Severino. That was the Severino.
Yes.
He was supposed to be like a super prospect.
Pedro Severino?
Yeah, he was like a super prospect.
Yes.
I remember that.
That was classic. But anyway, I always love those in hitters meetings because you'd watch the home run clips and then you'd see you go, ooh, the catcher, or the one where they reach back for the ball. They're like, it's hit, and they're just like, give me a new ball. Give me a new ball. Like, we're going to need a new one. Fans are going to keep that one.
Javi Báez with runners in scoring position this season is hitting .424. With runners in scoring position and 2 outs, he's 7 for 12.
It's awesome.
The regular numbers are there. The clutch numbers are there. The Tigers numbers are there.
Is he going to be the starting center fielder for the All-Star game?
What's the
That'd
competition?
Be so clutch. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I was just going to say, it's amazing when you have 2 hips that you can play on. I'm just saying.
Was that it?
He had hip surgery. Just saying. Some
players
play through things, and they're just not as good.
I'll also say this. Moving him to center field took some pressure off him. I don't care what you say. It let him be free. He doesn't have to worry about playing defense and making all these great plays and covering the whole infield. He just goes, they're like, go catch the ball in center field, run around and have a good time. And it makes it fun again. Sometimes that's all you got to do.
I don't know. I disagree with that because he looked like he was having fun. That looked like his one reprieve because I never saw, and obviously I don't watch 162 Tigers games, but I never saw him taking plays off and moping. He was never that guy. He was always that guy that he's out there, and it almost seemed like when he's out on the field, it was like, this is my chance to hit a dinger because I'm not doing it at the plate. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it does take pressure off of him, but he always looked like out on defense, like he was getting after it. And I thought it was going to be tougher for him moving to center field because it's like, you are always the superstar. His entire life, he was the shortstop. Most big league players were the shortstop until at some point in their career, they realized that other people are better at short. And that is a tougher transition than people think. So I give him a ton of credit for going off of a premier position.
I think you're right, too. I mean, he's got a pretty strong case to make it as the starting center fielder in the All-Star game. There's other competition, but he's right up there.
But so what Kratz just said is, here's my thing, though. In center field, how many times, Kratz, have you seen outfielders like? They ain't thinking about the ball. They ain't thinking about the ball being hit to him, so he gets to go out there and he can think about his bat waggle. He can think about, man, I'm not going to chase that slider 5 feet off the plate. It's just talk to any outfielder. When they're on defense, they're so relaxed. They're so far away from the ball. It's like they're out there talking. Randy Rosarena's out there signing autographs in between pitches. I mean, imagine if a catcher did that. There'd be pitch clock violations left and right. Just it's a less stressful position, is all I'm saying.
I would agree. Outfielders have the best life. The best life. Outfielders retire. You don't see outfielders getting fat when they retire. Nope. They're just perfect. They're the best.
Byron Buxton's actually having a really good year right now, so he's competition. Julio Rodriguez is off to a much better start than he's been. So there's competition. Javi's up there. Last thought. Do we need to be a little less harsh when a guy with a proven track record struggles and he might have a significant injury that he's battling and he's not necessarily at the end of his career? Because most people, myself included, were like, why is he still on the team?
Yes,
and
you couldn't wait. Scott couldn't wait to fire him.
I'm not going to act like I was the only one. At 32 years old, he's still in the prime of his career. He just had some adjustments to make, had a position change to make, had a hip surgery to get through, and boom, he's again one of the best players in the sport.
Those damn hips, I tell you what, don't break a hip.
The Tigers have to get some credit for sticking with him. He's got years left on his deal.
Hinch deserves a lot of credit in this.
And Harris and Illich. I'll give all the people credit there.
This is where I definitely have a blind spot. I think everybody can turn it around at some point. And I will probably err on the side of this guy's going to turn it around too many times. Because I see too much negativity in baseball, especially when you start talking about analytics. Wrong side of 30. He's a wrong, like, nobody's gonna be look and emulate my career, but my entire career was from 30 to 40. I didn't make the big leagues till I was 30 years old, essentially. Like, you sit there and you go, okay, not essentially, I actually was. But anyway, you sit there and you go, why couldn't somebody like that continue to play into his 36, 38-year-old season? They have to make adjustments, but when guys crater like that, I always believe they're going to be able to come back. Paul Goldschmidt, look at Paul Goldschmidt. Nolan Arenado, guys that had bad years, bouncing back this year.
And when you do that, some of our fans watch and go, oh, player homer. He's just thinking everybody's okay, and he just roots for all the players. Well,
I do. I root for all the players.
They do.
I don't know about all the players, but a lot of players.
Sometimes when guys who had really good careers and they get popped and then they fall off, but then they get back and have really good careers again, maybe I'm not as player homer as people would say.
Right. I'm with you on that one. Most times when a player gets busted for roids, I'm like, all right, let's see what happens.
Yes.
There are some that overcome that too. But anyway.
Or
more times than not, they don't, though.
Or they just don't get caught again. That's my view.
That's a big factor as well. That's very true. All right, let's get to the Reds. See Trent Rosecrans next. Of course, we're going to talk Pete Rose. Hey, we have another walk-off from yesterday. We had like 4 or 5.
There was like 3 in like 3 minutes.
Yeah, it was cool. Fernando Tatis Jr. in the late matchup between the Angels and Padres. It's been an awesome series. You had the big comeback for the Angels the night before. Padres bullpen is shaky in this series. Kyle Glazer, our Friar Territory host, was freaking out last night. I'm like, Kyle, relax. Look at the record for the Padres. They're fine. And look at the stuff for the relievers. They're just in a what?
It was one bad game.
Yeah, they're fine. Tatis walk-off dinger. Good ball club.
I love watching games in San Diego. like on TV. I haven't been to a game as a fan. It just like when the camera's like shaking all around, you're like, the place is rocking. And then they pan up and they got that whole new section like in center field where the fans are kind of in the stadium, but they're not. And everyone's going ham. Oh, I love seeing it. It's a good team.
Too many people doubted them.
Well,
I might have been wrong on Javier Báez.
I'm going to say this. There's a long ways to go, and they've got some things that need to go right for them.
That's fine. I just was, I think, one of the higher guys on the totem pole for this team and got a lot of hate on
I don't
YouTube
know that.
comments.
I mean, yeah, I think we all picked them maybe to make the playoffs. I don't know about that, but or maybe not.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of us had the Diamondbacks being ahead of, because if you look at the Diamondbacks on paper, you'd be like, the Diamondbacks should be a better team.
NL West, I had Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Padres. I like those three.
That's kind of, I think that was the same place.
And then, I mean, what you end up coming up with, though, is an issue because you have 3 wild cards. You're taking up 2 in the West. Central's going to have 1, I think. But what about the East?
Well, someone of the Phillies, Mets, Braves don't make it. There's the road.
Those are all good teams.
Mm-hmm.
That's what gets interesting. That's why I like it.
That's what happened to the
Diamondbacks last year.
Diamondbacks. They won 89 games, didn't get in.
What do you want?
You got to win 90.
You do.
Win 90, they're in.
But the point is,
it's a tough National League period. As Lee Ilya
league.
once said, it's a tough National League period.
Now
Phillyitis, all that sheep shit.
I
can say that because we're in commercial.
You can. Good job. It's going to be all nice.
87% of the world works, or 85% of the world works, Scott. The other 15% come out to day baseball.
Trent Rosecrans joining us right now, covers the Reds for The Athletic. Trent, is it true that it's Pete Rose night at the ballpark this evening?
Yes, it is. May 14th. The 14th, of course. It was the lone 14th home game, or home game on the 14th of the month anywhere. So on the Reds schedule. So they announced this in, I think it was October, shortly after Pete died. So it's been on the calendar for quite a while.
Did they make a bet on it? I'm sorry, too soon.
I'm sure somebody did. That's not illegal anymore.
Sure
it
not.
is for me. Well, it's not illegal, but it is. I will get fired if I do it. So,
right.
You know.
Oh, you get a slap on the hand. Don't worry. When you pass away, then you can get your Frick Award.
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer the Frick Award. We took that name away.
Oh, they did
sadly.
take that away, too.
Yeah. It's the... I forget what it's called, but I named it when I was president that year. So yeah, that's a whole different story.
Oh,
so
it's
you forget that you named
Trent Rosecrans. Yeah, it's the Rosecrans Award.
No, it is certainly not. That would not be it. Not for excellence. For other things, maybe. Who knows?
Trent, I want to get to the juice. Okay, let's start right at the top. You see the announcement and the flip-flop from Commissioner Manfred, who now says that once you die, you're off of the permanently ineligible list. And you think what?
I think, that's a good lawyerly loophole. That the, it is, he's not exonerated anyone, right? Nobody has been exonerated or anything. He's clarified the language. Really, this is what lawyers do. You clarify the language. It's like permanently ineligible. Well, what does permanent mean? Colloquially, it's always been called a lifetime ban. Well, then whose lifetime? Mine, his, the commissioner's, whose? And so that is a clarification. And to me, it just seems like Major League Baseball saying, hey, we're sick of you complaining to us about this and blaming us. Go blame the Hall of Fame. It's on their table now because, quite honestly, 35 years ago, that's what the Hall of Fame did. The Hall of Fame kicked the can down the curb by saying, oh, wait, we don't want Pete on the writer's ballot. We will make a new rule in 1990 that if you are on the permanently ineligible list, you're not eligible to be in the Hall of Fame. So that was their way around. So for 35 years, people have been blaming Major League Baseball. I guess Rob Manfred got sick of that, and he's going to say, hey, blame the Hall of Fame. And the Hall of Fame is going to say, hey, we're going to give him a shot in a couple of years because we're not going to make anything special for this guy. We're just going to let it go through this. And then they will have their process, which is the Veterans Committee. And they are in charge of who is on that committee, right? So, if you can, it's a lot easier to figure out how 16 people are going to vote than 400.
Because the Reds really haven't been to that many playoffs recently, this is probably the biggest Reds topic in general. What are the boots on the ground? What are fans in Cincinnati feeling about this? Not just based on this decision. I mean, it just came down yesterday, but in general, do Reds fans say, 90% of them say we're letting them in, or are they more like the FT fans where 50% say we should let them in?
I think it's never been a question inside the 275 loop that if you did a like a phone poll of anyone with a 513 area code, you're going to get 99.9% saying this. You do have others who have excellent points. But yeah, I think there's a foregone conclusion here, and I don't believe that it's accurate that, this just clears the way for him to go to the Hall of Fame. I just think it's a different way to like kick the can down the curb and blame someone else and shift blame. But maybe I'm being too cynical. Like, why would baseball give us any reason to be cynical?
Never. They would never, especially the commissioner's office. They would never do anything like that to make things weird or than they already are. But hey, whatever. He's back in some capacity. Let's just say that he's back in some. And by the way, a buddy of mine, we just saw Ray Fosse get run over by him, and a buddy of mine who's from Cincinnati, when he texted me, Pete Rose is back in, and I was like, whoopee. He's like, you're lucky Ray Fosse, you weren't the catcher in the All-Star game. And I was like, oh, am I lucky? Or is Pete lucky?
Mm-hmm.
Because I was a little bigger than Ray Fosse. I'm sorry, no offense. But we would have had fun with it. Anyways, let's talk about something else, a little more positive. Let's talk about the Reds team.
Awesome.
They've been playing a little bit.
Is that
they've
more
been playing
positive?
a little better. Well, they've been playing a little bit better, but the White Sox did take them out behind the White Sox did take them out behind the woodshed last night. So, the White Sox are hot, though. So, can't blame them for that. But where's the offense gone? That's what I want to know. The pitching's been great, but where the heck's the offense?
Well, they've been shut out 7 times. Only the Pirates more, or I think the Pirates have the same. They lead. Yeah, it's just been, a lot of it has been kind of these things. Matt McClain has not kind of gotten back to where I think he will be eventually, but he's not there right now. Spencer Steer coming off that shoulder injury, I think he's been much better since he's gotten in the field. DHing just did not suit him, and I think he's in a much better place now. But yeah, and then Ellie De La Cruz has been probably their best hitter. When Austin Hayes is on the field, he's been very good, but it's just not been consistent. And that happens in baseball a lot. There'll be days where they explode. We've seen a couple of those, But even the day that they score 10 runs in the first, that's a closer game a little bit later when they give up 6. So it is a concern, and that was kind of the question coming into this season, though, was like, okay, where's the offense going to be, and how much can you count on it? And you haven't been able to count on it yet.
Okay, but what about the pitching? Is this going to be Is a Great American Small Park now going to be a pitcher's haven because of what Derek Johnson and okay, I'll stop there.
I mean, DJ, and DJ's going to get the most out of anybody. I mean, DJ is as good as there is in the game, but he doesn't exactly walk on water. There's a lot of water outside right now. It's been raining nonstop, and we've had a lot of rain delays this year. Even more than usual, but I think it's been just good pitchers. You look at Hunter Green is just before he got hurt. Like it seems like he's taken that next step from All-Star to Cy Young-ish. And again, it's easy to forget that Hunter Green is still 25 years old, and because of the way his kind of unique situation coming up, the majority of his pitches in his life, competitive pitches in his life, have been in the big leagues. And that's not an easy thing to do. and he's kind of finally getting to that point where he has that experience, that confidence, and all that that is coming together. And hopefully this injury that currently has him on the IL isn't a long one, because it's a joy to watch pitch. He's been much more, focused, and it's been throwing strikes and unafraid. And he's learned that, oh wait, I throw 100 miles an hour. That's probably good. If it's in the zone, yeah, so what? Good luck. And I think that's been a really good change for him. I mean, you guys are catchers, you just like throw it over the plate, see what happens. When the stuff's that good. So there is that step. Nick Lodolo is the consistency is a thing, but man, his stuff is great. Brady Singer's been a good addition, exactly what they wanted, a guy that you can count on going every 5 days. Nick Martinez is a pro. Andrew Abbott is one of those guys that is a throwback. I mean, you look at him and you could see him hanging out on the rooftop with Tom Browning with a heater. I mean, both those guys, you could definitely see it. He's kind of the second coming of Browning in a lot of ways. So they have good pitching. Brett Lauder on the way and Chase Burns on the way. Chase Burns, wow. He's pretty good. So, yeah, they've got some pitching. And it's just finding the offense, which is kind of weird. I can't imagine either one of you had that ever on any of your scouting reports coming into Great American Ballpark.
No, it was always, let's hit a couple homers when we're in the small park. But Gavin Lux has been kind of a positive for the Reds. Was it just a change of scenery for him that he needed to get out from that Dodgers shadow and he kind of can become his own person here in Cincinnati?
I think it's as much the health as anything. It's like once he kind of got through that first half last year, you look at the second half, and that's when he's got his legs under him. And you have to have your legs under you. And once he got that last year, he was really good. And Gavin Lux is going to put the bat on the ball. I just kind of believe that if he's healthy and he's on the field, he's going to put the bat on the ball, and good things are going to happen. So yeah, it was a really good addition. Defensively is the question. And they've had some things where they've had to move some people around, and they don't exactly have the outfield that you would want, but that you could certainly upgrade some of the outfielders. But it's there are some pieces there. It's a long season. You see some of the teams in this division go hot and cold. I don't see anybody running away with this division.
All right, we're gonna swing back to the topic of the day. I still had a couple more for you, C. Trent. So no. I'm going to go back to Pete Rose. Yes. I want, because you're in Cincinnati, right? We saw you about a month ago at the start of the season. I want the pulse in Cincinnati after this announcement is made, because for Reds fans, and for really almost any sports fan, you're going to have bias towards your team, towards your favorite players. So what is the pulse of the city after an announcement like this?
It's joyous. I mean, I spent my morning and early afternoon at this was already planned because they had planned this Pete Rose Day, but it was Boldface Park is now Pete Rose Park, kind of the park that Pete grew up playing on. And really, I drove from my place out there. It is basically 4 to 4.5 miles from Great American Ballpark, and then it's like 3.5 miles to Pete's childhood home. And so on my way out there this morning, I drove by Pete's home. I don't know why, I just did. And then I was turned around. I just kind of looked and was like, oh, there it is. Look, kids, Big Ben Parliament. Turned around, pulled into one of the local convenience stores, UDF, and it's hilarious. Pull in to get a Coke, and I look up, and the fountains, it's like, get your Big Red Machine commemorative cup, and Pete Rose is still on the outside, and that's how they're selling stuff is Pete Rose. He is a beloved figure in this town. It goes beyond playing for the Cincinnati Reds. He is from Cincinnati. Like, he went to West High. He is Cincinnati through and through. Did commercials for Gold Star Chili. So like, this is there's nothing quite like it that I've experienced in my life, and I've lived all over the place. The dedication in this city and the reverence for Pete Rose is unmatched. Talked to Pete Rose Jr., who you guys, AJ, do you know him from your White Sox time?
I played against him. I was with the Twins.
Okay.
He was like 32 in AAA or in A ball. Sorry, he was in South Bend. Like he was like 32 years old in A ball.
and then he was coach in the White Sox system there for a while. And
Yeah.
but he lives a couple miles down the road. He still lives in town. It's one of those things that's just, he is a huge part of this city. You just can't go anywhere. I was on 14th Street, and there's a mural of Pete Rose on 14 on a building on the side of 14th Street down in over the Rhine area of the town. He's just everywhere. There's the statue out front that I saw a lot of people at yesterday. That I went was the day that he died there. It's just, I can't explain it, and I've lived all over the world, and I've seen nothing like it.
So I was there on opening day. It's around when I saw you, and they did a moment of silence for him, and it was probably the biggest moment of the day, right? It's the part that I think a lot of fans were looking forward to. I mean, I got to converse, obviously, with people around Cincinnati, and it's why I ask it, and I think it's why it's super timely to have you on during a time like this, because let's also be real. Yeah, he's Cincinnati's son. He's been there. He was there for a long time. He's a legendary ball player. He's also not the perfect role model by any means. So how do you think fans were receiving the entire process up to this point with the way that Major League Baseball handled things? Because we all of a sudden had this flip-flop several weeks after the president, who's a big Pete Rose fan, meets with Commissioner Manfred. Let's do some math here. Do you think that Reds fans have any, I don't want to say regret, or maybe it's frustration that this wasn't handled earlier?
Yeah, I think most people are disappointed that Pete didn't get to see this, that Pete wasn't there for that. But that is kind of like, that is the bigger point. But when you look at the wording, it wouldn't have happened if they would have announced it a year ago, right? They could have announced this clarification a year ago before he passed, and that probably would have been more cruel, quite honestly. But it is, I think there's, when you have like an ex-girlfriend, and something happened, and it's over, and you don't want to litigate it again, but you're always going to hold it against that person. That's kind of where we are. These are matters to the heart, and I think the people of Cincinnati, the baseball fans, for the majority of Cincinnati, and Pete Rose fans, aren't going to be happy about anything that happens, because it didn't happen when Pete was alive, and it didn't happen on when everybody expected it to in the summer of 1991. And that's just kind of how it is. And it's there's nothing that can be done to change the past. And people are still upset. I heard it today, like, oh, why couldn't they done this earlier? And they should have. And now he's going into the hall, but he won't be here, and he won't be here for this dedication. But that's not exactly the story, like, that's not the truth, because he was never going to be allowed in while he was alive. It was just a clarification of your ban expires when you do.
Last one from
There was a lot of political pressure on this too, though. Let's not forget.
Yeah,
I've said it a million times.
JD Vance, who's big in Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
JD Vance, who's the vice president now, has said things.
And he lives here.
Yes, Trump has
I
said
drive
things.
by his place, and
they're big Pete
his
Rose
brother
people.
just got crushed. But yeah, like there was political things, and I think it'd be naive to think that didn't play any part in this. Because the world is politics, and this is big business as well. And this is very involved in big business. Major League Baseball is a pretty large business. And you have even larger businessmen involved in Major League Baseball. So that is, I believe that was part of it. Fawn Rose said she met with Commissioner Manfred in December, and she was actually like sincerely um, uh, complimentary of Commissioner Manfred and how he handled it with her and how he approached it, which I found very interesting, because it wasn't just a simple platitude. It seemed genuine when Fawn spoke, Pete's oldest child, his daughter, and so that was this morning, and so I think there was some uh, help there for the family, but for the city of Cincinnati, no. And this, like, honestly, like, President Trump said something about pardoning him, and that would have nothing to do with any of this. It's just political theater.
Wait, what happened to JD Vance's brother? You said he got crushed by
Well, by the current mayor, and it was a primary. He'll still get crushed again in November because it was a primary where the top two of three candidates go on, and I think Mayor Perval, who was not at the thing today, the vice mayor was there. Also interesting. 83% voted for Mayor Perval. I think it was 13 for his brother who is running. But I think, we can get my political things there. He has no shot. This is a fairly democratic. Hamilton County is fairly solidly Democratic leading, and so yeah, he's just using this as probably he'll. I'm sure he'll run for a larger state office at some point.
Last one from me. Is this the Pete Rose rule now? If you're permanently kicked out from the game, you now are back in the mix once you die. So if anyone does something wrong in baseball that gets them kicked out forever actually means just until you pass. And then you could be voted into the Hall of Fame or whatever else, I guess, there is for being on the ineligible list.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, and it will be colloquially known as the Pete Rose rule, even if it also applies to the 8 banned by Kennesaw Mountain Landis, the White Sox, because they have obviously passed. So that's going to be it, but it skips the writers. The writers will not have a chance, and that's fine by me. I mean, I don't care, but it's again speaking of people like saying, "Hey, not my fault." That's not going to be the writer's fault, and it never has been the writer's fault that Pete wasn't in. And honestly, I think Pete would have a better chance with the writers than with the Veterans Committee.
Would you have voted for him? That's all I want. Would you have voted for him if he was put on the ballot?
Yeah, he had 3,154 hits. I mean, I voted for Barry Bonds. Quite honestly, I vote for Manny Ramirez in part because of Pete Rose. If because honestly, like Pete Rose served his time. We don't believe in it is at least legally, in the legal sense, and I would vote for him. You know what? Manny Ramirez served his time, and I'm fine. All I know is what happened on the field. You guys probably know, both of you faced many pitchers who were never found out who were probably using performance enhancing drugs. How many of, say, let's go to Rafael Palmeiro, because that's a guy who did test positive. We don't know how many of his home runs were against pitchers using. So was it an even field? I don't know. All I know is what happened on the field. Major League Baseball has never said that those games didn't count or didn't happen or aren't part of the record book. So my general feeling when I vote for the Hall of Fame is that I vote for what happened on the field because that's all I know and all I am judging.
Okay. That's consistency.
I respect that.
Yeah, it's consistency.
I respect that.
That's cool.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's a line where if you do something once the testing was and you broke those rules, that's a different story. If you did it before
and I understand that.
Then
I really do.
As a player,
yeah.
Somebody that played in the heart of, I mean, I was in the middle of it, and then I was in the middle of after, right? So to me, if you did it after 2005 when they started testing, that's a different thing. You knowingly broke the rules. Before that, you might have broken the unwritten rules that nobody talked about or nobody knew, but it wasn't.
And they also elected all the enablers. There are people in the game who enabled it. When you're talking about managers, executives, commissioners, they're in the Hall of Fame too. So, right? Am I wrong?
Yep. No, you're right.
100%. In, no doubt. I'm with you. Good combo. Yeah. See, Trent, thanks for joining us. We'll catch you soon. Enjoy Pete Rose night at the ballpark.
Go White Sox! Go White Sox! 2 in a row.
Hey, you got the Pope on your side.
That's right. We can't lose now. We can't lose now.
And AJ Pierzynski. I mean, how do you get a higher trio than Obama, the Pope, and Pierzynski?
Right? The 3 Ps.
It's the dream team. Thanks, C. Trent. Talk soon.
Pope, Prez, Pierzynski.
Yep.
All very popular places.
Sometimes we get the asks for lightweight hoodies, and I'm like, they exist. They're awesome at Rhoback.
Without a doubt. Comfort, lightweight, durability. I wear these all the time. The color schemes are absolutely phenomenal.
Go check it out. You can use the code FOUL on roback.com for 20% off your first purchase. That's FOUL on RHOBACK.com. 20% off all shorts, hoodies, polos, and more. Go check out Roback.
Polos.
You like the way I say
Scott
polos?
said polos.
I got that exact same
Polos.
shirt in the logo. I'm pretty sure it was me. A nice sunset picture of the white with the blue stripe Roback. The dog is phenomenal.
That's so Kratz. Hey, let's hit a couple more walk-offs from yesterday. So I think there were two that we didn't cover yet. The Mariners walk-off, the Yankees who just couldn't tap into the Mariners bullpen. Actually, Devin Williams had a nice inning in the 10th. And then Tim Hill gave it up in the 11th pretty quickly on back-to-back knocks. But the Mariners get a walk-off win. And how fitting. Here's the Mariners walk-off win, by the way. J.P. Crawford gets it done quickly against Tim Hill. A little slice piece in the left. 2-1 win for the M's. And Justin Turner?
Justin Turner with the big knock. Remember, he got demoted. You told yesterday, Scott, you were saying he's done.
On Moises, however you say it,
He didn't have a good
Ballesteros day?
Ballesteros.
I know, Ballesteros, but
Seve
I'm saying
Ballesteros?
he gets called up. JT gets the walk-off. I like that little rookie versus end-of-year veteran battle or end-of-career veteran battle for the DH spot.
No.
It's gonna.
What do you mean, no?
It's not. It's gonna be a platoon stop. A righty's out there. It's gonna be Ballesteros. Ballesteros is not getting called up to do anything but rake. He's gonna get the righties. They brought a lefty in. JT got his at bat. Then you had a stick with JT, and he got it against the righty. They're so deep into the platoon nation. You're not earning a spot unless Ballesteros doesn't do anything with it, and then Ian Happ will be back by that time.
Okay, so just strict platoon with those two.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And when Happ comes back, Ballesteros probably going to go to AAA because they need him to catch and get better.
Right.
That Mariners game
could have Ballesteros, but if he goes on a heater, it might be hard to sit him.
Yeah.
That Mariners game could have ended differently. Leotis didn't quite make a good read. He should have scored on the base hit the previous at bat, but he didn't. What? Hey.
Okay. Hey, we've got Scott Miller joining us right now, New York Times contributor and fresh book to go over as well, 90% Mental, co-author, and it's coming out. When is it coming out, by the way, Scott? And thank you for joining us. What's the exact date?
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it. Yesterday, it actually hit the shelves. Yesterday, it became available. So, Eddie, as they say, wherever books are sold, or as we say today, Amazon.com, Target.com, BarnesandNoble.com, whatever.
Or Scott Miller's going to send me a free one because of all those damn interviews I did for all those years with him. So at some point, I'm expecting an autographed copy to show up at my house.
AJ, I'll be happy to. I knew AJ when he was a young up-and-comer with the Minnesota Twins when I was covering them. And
your hair was a little different, though.
What's that?
Your hair was a little different. Scott, back then.
Yeah, and I don't know if you had a beard back then, but
no,
Tom
Kelly, there was no beards being allowed in Tom Kelly's world. You were no sunglasses. You weren't allowed to wear sunglasses. You had to wear your jersey. There was no like pullovers.
Twins didn't pay for shaving cream.
We had to buy our own fleeces at one point.
Oh man,
Terry Ryan had to buy his own shorts. I mean, there was a lot of cool stories. God knows all these stories. That's the best.
I talked to TK for a while. He's in the book about managing during his time. AJ, you'll get a kick out of this. I wanted to talk to TK for many reasons. Tom Kelly managed the Twins back in the 80s and 90s and 87 and 91 and 2 World Series wins. So anyway, I covered TK and the Twins from 94 to 99. AJ came up during that time and we got to know each other a little bit. But anyway, one of the things I wanted to do in the book, among other things, shows how managing used to be and how it is now, was kind of compare and contrast the famous John Smoltz Game 7 in 1991 World Series, the 10-inning, strong, complete game performance against, in 2020 when Kevin Cash famously hooked Blake Snell early before he faced the Dodgers lineup the third time. And Kevin Cash, God bless him, he was great. I know he's tired of talking about the topic, but anyway, two extremes of how baseball used to be. Anyway, AJ, back to the Tom Kelly thing. So that's one thing I wanted to do in the book. So I called TK and I thought, I haven't been through Minnesota in a while. I always prefer doing interviews in person because it's just better than, on the phone. So I called TK a couple of years, when I started this project, and he answers. And he and I ended up, we had a good relationship, even though he could be cantankerous. So I tell TK what the issue is, or what I'm looking for to try to talk to him. I said, I'd love to come to the Twin Cities, sit down over lunch, maybe spend some time with you talking about managing. And Tom Kelly says, Scotty, I don't even talk to my wife that much. I don't want to have lunch. You don't need to come to the Twin Cities. No. I'm like, oh man, I really want to talk. So we keep talking. And finally he says, I don't even know why I'd want to help somebody write a book anyway. And
Oh my God.
I'm losing it. I'm like, oh, so I give him my best pitch. I'm like, Tom, you won 2 World Series in 1987 and 1991. You were a great manager, but all the publicity, all the pub comes out of the East Coast, New York, or the West Coast. I said, I really would like to have you in my book. So we talk a little bit more. Finally, he says, all right, I don't know what I'm going to say to help you, he said, but I can give you a few minutes if you want to call me next week. So we agree on Monday. He's golfing in the morning. I'll call around noon. Okay, great. I call him, 3.5 hours on the phone. He was superb.
Oh boy.
Of course.
Dude, it's such TK. I mean, I told the story before. TK, I never knew I made the major leagues until Tom Kelly had a conversation with me where he wasn't like telling me how crappy I was. He just came up to me one day in my locker and was like, hey, you going to be in the fantasy football league? This is like June. My first full year. And I was like, I made it. He actually talked to me like a normal human. Yes.
Like you're there.
I'm doing okay.
Wow. That's
Oh,
good.
yeah.
That's good.
That's how managing used to be, though. I talked to Dan Petrie, he was the number 2 pitcher, Jack Morris's number 1 for the 1984 Tigers World Series team. And Sparky Anderson was similar. I mean, we all know Sparky either by reputation or dealing with him as being this affable guy, but he didn't want to get to know his players. Partly, he used to say, because I know one day I'm going to have to release them or trade them, and it's going to be too painful. So I don't want to know them. And anyway, Dan Petrie told me, he pitched for Sparky. He said when he first came up, he said, we were scared to death of Sparky. He said the only time you ever went into Sparky's office was A, if he's going to send you down to the minor leagues, or B, if he was going to chew your ass over something that happened in the game. He said he never stopped by to say good job. And he said, I never wanted to talk to Sparky. I just wanted to keep letting him do my job. And, that's where, managing back then versus managing today is all about communicating with your players.
So I want to make sure I hammer the name of the book so people can find it online, available, like Scott said, everywhere. Skipper, Why Baseball Managers Matter and Always Will. So let's fast forward to now. Did you get into the state of managers in today's game, the psychology game, the way that they have to work with the front office on setting the lineup and any other kind of prep, and why the managers still matter so much now, even though they essentially have less power or have to spread the power around amongst the organization?
Yeah, definitely. Kind of in a nutshell, Scott, the book it starts in the late 70s when managers had all the power. Billy Martin, Earl Weaver, Sparky Anderson. And also it starts in the late 70s because that's when the very first rudimentary computers were available to the public. So that's why I picked then to start, to kind of move from then to now as managing and the game changed, as computers moved into all of our lives and changed every aspect of it. So the book kind of looks at managing from the late 70s to now, what the job was like then, what it's like now, how we got from then to now and why we got from then to now. And yeah, today's job, it's interesting what the job Aaron Boone is doing today in New York. If you just look at a list of Yankees managers, you'll see whatever, Billy Martin, Bob Lemon, Joe Torre. And on paper, that's the lineage. But the job Aaron Boone is doing in New York today as a manager is completely different than the job Joe Torre did or any other manager did back in the day. And that's true for all organizations.
Did you find any crossovers? Did you find any manager types like Aaron Boone is now from back in the 70s and 80s? More of that like player, kind of happy-go-lucky, not as much of a hard ass? Or did you find anybody that's currently more like a Sparky Anderson or a Tom Kelly in the game dealing with a bunch of snowflake players?
I would say Jim Leland's a little bit like Sparky and Casey Stengel from the standpoint of remember famously in the early 90s when he and Barry Bonds got into it in spring training very publicly. And, for Jim Leland doesn't take any guff. Also, he's got that philosophical side where the way he speaks, it just sounds like a wise philosopher. But, that would be one, I would say, Erik. The interesting thing is the question keeps coming up. Could a guy managing today, and name any one of the 30 managers going right now, could he have managed back then, or could like Earl Weaver manage today? And I think there are a handful of guys today probably could manage back then. I mean, Bruce Bochy obviously has proven his stripes. That's a guy that could manage, I think, in any era. Probably Dusty Baker, Leland. There are a handful of guys, but not a ton of them. And, Bochy told me in the book, I asked him, he kind of crosses a couple of different generations. And he said the biggest change in his job is when he first started managing, he said, when I first started managing the job, I would tell players what to do. He said, now as I manage, you can't just tell players what to do. Now it requires an explanation. Hey, I need you to do this for this reason, or hey, this is why we're wanting you to do this. Kind of got to come. I don't know if Erik use word. I love that he says snowflake players, and there are different feelings there. But yeah, managers today have to be so much more better at communicating with their players and relationships than old school managers did. And, I think, you look at managing today, and Sandy Alderson, I talked to executives as well as managers, as well as players and ex-players, trying to get a handle on all of it. And as Sandy Alderson said, managing today in your tool bag, you've got to have a handful of skill set that guys 40 years ago didn't need, and that's where the differences come in about why the job is different today than back then.
Should they be paid? Big news was made when Craig Counsell got his $40 million contract to leave a division rival and go manage the Cubs. Dave Roberts has since eclipsed his annual value. But should they be paid more? Should they be paid with the way that players' salary has gone up? Managerial salaries have not kept up.
No, you're right. That's a great point. And I did talk to Craig Counsell in the book about that. And if you look at what major league managers make compared to NBA coaches, NFL coaches, even college football and basketball coaches, and believe it or not, there are some college baseball coaches like Tim Corbin, the great coach at Vanderbilt, that make more than some major league managers do. Major league manager salaries have been depressed for years. And it's amazing because you all know, I don't have to tell you what a long season it is. And so much is required, not just managing, obviously, the games and the obvious things that go with it. But, these guys today, especially take Dave Roberts in Los Angeles. I mean, he gets pulled as if he's made of taffy. He's got to deal with the players. He's got to work with the baseball baseball operations department that wants him to do certain things. One day, the marketing department of the Dodgers may come in and said, "Hey, we need you to speak at a statue dedication ceremony." Or when Vin Scully retired, after Vin's last game, there's Dave out on the field, kind of being MC as they lead a ceremony for Vin Scully. And there's so much today that goes into it. And yet, you're right, they don't get paid very much, relatively speaking. And, Craig Counsell said, among other things, when he was in Milwaukee, he said, every single day we got to do, as baseball managers, we got to meet the press before the game, after the game. I mean, you talk 162 games a season. That my math isn't good. AJ may need to help me here. 162 games pre and post game. That's what? That's 320 some press conferences a year, let alone off days, spring training, on and on and on. Special when breaking news happens. And Counsell said, whenever I'd bump into in the off season, like the Green Bay Packers coach or the Milwaukee Bucks coach, he said that would be the one thing that would leave them shaking their heads. They're like, I don't know how you meet with the media that much. It's nuts.
Agreed. But this is all, to me, the declining power of a major league manager. It used to be the manager had all the power. I mean, the manager, Tom Kelly, like we had Terry Ryan as our GM. Yep. Terry Ryan, honestly, he had power to make player moves, but Tom Kelly would be like, I don't want him to come up. And I need a guy this. And Terry Ryan would say, all right, I'm going to bring up Pierzynski. And Tom Kelly would say, nope, not him. I want anybody else, right? And that was it's changed. That's why the roles have kind of reversed. Like now it's GM has power, managers a little bit. But it used to be, the manager was the end-all, be-all of the baseball organization, and they got paid like it. Now it's kind of flip-flop. I don't know if it's good or bad. Scott, I'll let you tell me the answer to this question. Is it good or bad?
Probably like anything else, not to give you a wishy-washy answer, AJ, it's probably, there are probably some good aspects and some bad aspects. I mean, one thing going way back, and I don't mean to date myself, and this actually was when I was a kid, but say in 1976, Mark the Bird Fidrich came up to the Tigers as a rookie, famously, just took the game by storm. He was, as a rookie, he started the All-Star game that year, and he ended up getting hurt the next spring, and he never reached those heights again. And I bring him up because that rookie year in 1976, he threw like 254 innings. I mean, it was nuts. You talk about innings limits and how that we watch pitchers like Hawks today. And so on one hand, Ralph Houck kept running him out there. It's probably good to have some guardrails on managers today in that, the front office steps in to a degree and says, hey, we got to really take care. We don't want this guy throwing too many innings. If he goes from pitching 70 innings last year to 250 innings this year, he's going to blow his arm out, which is what happened to Mark Fidrich way back when. So it's to a degree probably good that there are some checks and balances on managers today. But on the flip side, it can create a dicey situation because, right now as fans, as media people like us, so many people, and that's why I ended up being interested in writing the book. So many people look and say, do managers even matter anymore? They're more like middle managers. They've been neutered, and, most of their influence now is we hear so much about building a culture, a team culture, and communicating with players and kind of selling the front office's vision of the team. The manager has to kind of sell that to the players individually. Certainly a lot of the passion is taken out of the game, I think. Who didn't love Earl Weaver or Sparky Anderson or Billy Martin just going nuts on an umpire? That would fire up a whole stadium, and it kept the game interesting. And, with managing not being what it was, certainly I think it removes some of the soul and humanity from the game.
Scott, we appreciate the time. The book sounds awesome. Cannot wait to dive into it. I'm just going to give you a yes or no because we're out of time. Do you think that Pete Rose will be voted into the Hall? Would you have voted him into the Hall? So give me yes or no on each one.
I'm going to say no. I don't think he will be. I think it may take a while because I don't think executives and Hall of Famers that are voting will be ready right away to vote him in. And I wouldn't. I think yesterday's ruling diminishes the integrity of the game to a degree.
Nice. Okay. Obviously, AJ's on the same page. We spent a lot of time on that earlier. Scott, great to have you on. We'll have you back soon. Good luck with the book, and we'll pump it again.
I'll be waiting. I'll be waiting for my autographed copy. To AJ, the best interview I ever had. Thank you.
Text me your address. We'll be in touch. Thank you, guys. Really enjoyed being with you.
Thanks,
Scott.
Scotty.
See you in San Diego.
Everyone go check out his book. Hey, for the card collectors out there, you need to know about Arena Club. You can check out our showrooms. We've all got cards in there. You can buy, you can sell, you can trade, and you can rip packs. They're called slab packs, Kratz. And then what happens if you don't like what you pulled?
You get an instant offer. You get an instant offer, but before you get that instant offer, you can show your showroom around, kind of like when I used to put the cards in the sleeves and my buddies would come over and show them. Now, bang, show them on the phone. Instant offers right there if I need it.
Yep, that instant offer is for the estimated fair market value. Accept it on the spot. Acquire the best value for your money with slab packs, transparent checklists, and Arena Club's Slab Safe program. Whether you're buying, selling, trading, grading, or ripping packs, Arena Club is the safest, most trusted in the game. Right now, you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/foul and use code FOUL. That's arenaclub.com/foul, code FOUL. We did get a comment in the chat during our Dodgers conversation from someone who said, don't sleep on the Brewers IL for their starting pitching. So this is a live show with a first-class production team, and we pulled a tweet from Adam McCalvey to throw it up there, and you guys can decide which IL sheet is heavier.
Dodgers.
You didn't even get to look at it yet.
I don't even need to.
I haven't seen the Brewers sheet.
Here it is. I got it for you, Kratz. We got it. The crew behind the scenes put it together.
Well, Ashby's not a starter.
Let me read it, too.
Ashby's not a starter.
There's a podcast crew later. Brandon Woodruff, Jose Quintana, Nestor Cortez. Yes, Aaron Ashby not a starter. Aaron Savali's a starter. DL Hall, Robert Gasser, Connor Thomas. This list also doesn't include Tobias Myers, who spent most of April on the IL and is healthy now but got optioned.
In the grand scheme of things, this is probably a tougher list for the Brewers because of the budget and everything.
They don't have the depth.
That's what I'm saying. This is a tougher list. Why is there so many guys on the IL? It's just so many more guys. I mean, right? Am I wrong? There's just so many more guys on the IL all the time.
That's 2 rotations.
For the Dodgers have what? How many? 15 or something crazy? I mean, that's crazy.
Nuts. Yeah, I mean,
because they're not allowed to pitch. They're not allowed to pitch at any diminished velocity, any diminished. Oh, this guy got hit. His velocity was down 2 miles per hour. It's terrible. Guys are not allowed to have any diminished velocity, spin, anything. Back when you caught AJ, you would have starters that didn't quite have it every single night. You still had to get it through.
Bowden puts out an article in The Athletic on MLB's 10 biggest surprises. Some include the Tigers' first place in the division and in the American League, the Mets' rotation, the Mariners' rejuvenated offense, Jacob Wilson, who looks like one of those old school contact extraordinaires. I want to get into a few others too. Do you know who leads MLB in strikeouts right now?
Mackenzie Gore.
Hit it.
Mackenzie Gore.
Yeah.
12.82 strikeouts per 9 innings, up from 9.79 per 9 last season. That's a big jump. And actually, this isn't in the article, but this has been pointed out by a few FT fans. They said, look at Paul Skeens' strikeout numbers. It's super interesting. They are way down. But he is giving the team length. Mm-hmm. So I think he's so good that he is one of those guys that can say, I can sacrifice some swing and miss and get some quick outs, old school style. Obviously, the league's getting to him a little bit more, too.
He's fine. His numbers are still good. They just can't score any damn runs for him. But yeah, I think you're right. I think Skeen's strikeouts are way down. But plus, people have seen him now. He's throwing a lot more to contact to try to go deeper into games, which is smart. That's how guys used to do it.
You're going to get contact on the splinter sometimes. It's just going to be crap contact.
Yeah, but he can still strike guys out if when he wants to.
I agree. He can dial.
He's learning.
Right, crap.
He's learning to pitch differently with runners in scoring position. Watch a game. Watch his stuff. You're seeing a different pitcher when there's dudes in scoring position. That's a maturation that usually happens in year 3 or 4, not in year 1.5.
One part that I think we're all going to disagree on is topic 9 on this article. Minor league stadiums in MLB working out for the most part.
That's guys that have been to, especially Sacramento.
And when you say guys, I mean guys and girls fans too.
But I'm talking like the people we talked to on this show when we ask them about Sacramento. They're like, it's suitable. Who did we have on the other day that said it's good for 3 days, but I don't want to spend 3 years there?
I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, that seems to be the sentiment with just about everyone that's hitting those spots right now, right? And I've asked some people about the Rays' experience at Steinbrenner Field, and they're like, it's put together nicely, but they're like, it's super minor league spring training game. Yeah. There's no pomp and circumstance. It's quiet. It's not big league entertainment. It's a little bit pure, which is cool, but they're like, that's really not how the league should be built these days. It is what it is, but I would definitely not call it.
By the way, Jacob Wilson, the Jacob Wilson thing is, if you haven't seen that dude hit, he's like my all-time. He's like one of my favorite hitters to watch. He's like me. You don't get the 3 count. You don't get the 3 ball counts. You don't get the 2 strikes. They throw one up there, he freaking whacks it.
Yep.
2 homers last night. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, Jacob
Wilson.
It's
Justin
really
Shackle that said it. He was the one who was in Sacramento and was like, I wouldn't want to spend 3 years there. Jacob Wilson, I bought a little preseason rookie of the year for him. So let's keep it going, Willie. Okay. I played with your dad for a little bit.
So I want to make sure we go back to the Parks here, which is Jacob Wilson's team. It's not a success for them. The A's are 8-13 at home. They're 14-7 on the road. The Rays 11-17 at home, 8-5 on the road. So they're not thrilled with the results right now. And wait for it, we've been talking about the summer months for both of these ballparks. What's going to happen in Sacramento? You're going to be able to bring your carton of eggs and cook it on the field or on the seats or anything else. It gets to 110 or something? Mm-hmm. And we're close by to Tampa.
Well, the Rays aren't going to be in Tampa, so they don't got to worry about it. They're going to spend the whole second half on the road.
But when they are there for some select games, it's hot and it rains. So it's just not a great fan experience in those environments. Those environments for a big league park need
big league parks
and
third decks
roofs if possible.
Roof
in this area.
You don't have to have a roof, but
in Florida.
Who said it the other day? The third deck is real. Who said? I heard him say it the other day. The third deck is real.
Shackle, Justin Shackle.
Shackle too. When he was calling the game.
See, this guy's all over it.
Yeah.
Justin Shackle's all over us.
He is.
He's like the third deck is real.
Well, it's real for me.
I think part of both those teams losing at home is it's not a big league park, and there's very little margin for variance. So you have to learn to play at a big league park or at a minor league park that's different than a big league park. And I get it. The other team's playing in the same park, but you're doing it day in and day out. And when you come into Tampa and dudes are going oppo that usually don't go oppo, it's a completely different scouting report, way to pitch guys. And you got to learn that for more games than the other team because the other team's out of there in 3 days. So I think it's a disadvantage for the teams that are playing
there. FT fam, we're going to hit injury suck with some fresh ones, including a hit to the Mariners rotation next. Your BetMGM free game of the day is streaming on the BetMGM app, live streaming available to all BetMGM customers who are logged in with funded accounts. Tonight's contest, Miami against Chicago. Good game yesterday. See if that continues. The Marlins are a tough win, right? Like, they're going to lose a ton of games, but
they play hard.
They're going to be close games.
I hate that. They play hard.
They do. They play hard. It's a lot of, I mean, I want to almost say like guys that were labeled quad A, and then they're like, nah, I can play in the bigs. You know, we had Kyle Stowers on. I mean, he can hit. That dude looks good.
He said it's a bomb.
He's having a year.
Yep.
All right, Tuesday's locks, we missed. It's been a cold start to the year. We're kind of like the players that say are from, you know, warmer climates and can't get going. Player. Yeah, like that actually makes sense.
It's all turning around today.
We're Pete Rose
Day. Pete Rose Day. I'm laying a heavy bet down. I'm chasing. I'm betting all my guys to win. Pete inspired me to bet heavy today.
Are you picking the Reds game?
No.
What are you picking?
I'm going Scooble.
Okay.
Even money over 18.5 outs. So he's got to get one out in the 7th inning. Oof. Against the Red Sox at home. Red Sox offense hasn't exactly been lighting it up.
They did last night.
But that's why they hit so good, but they weren't facing Scoobs. And Scooble, friend of the show, friend of me. So I'm going even money for all or nothing. Going heavy for Pete Rose Day.
All or nothing for Pete.
All or nothing for Pete. Let's go, Pete.
Wow.
Pick me up, Pete.
So can we do it an even number? So you're up $3 tomorrow because you're down 41.97, up 4,200.
Sure.
Okay, 4,200.
Kratz's face.
Kratz, how do you feel about the selection there? Scooble getting into the 7th.
Oh, the selection. I'll always back my guys. I'm tailing the boys all the time. So hey, you know what? Scooble's going to do it. The Red Sox, their bullpen got, Tigers bullpen got kind of used, so they're going to need to get some length out of them. They punch out a lot. I love it. Good for you. I took the over on strikeouts, parlayed it with Hunter Dobbins over. So I'm on board with you. Let's do it. Do it, AJ.
Or you can fade AJ if you want to see a White Sox win last night. You guys wish. They don't win often, but
hey, when they win big.
That's the curse on AJ's squad. They don't want you rooting against them. It's a tough spot. I mean, it's a hedge because you probably look at last night's game and you're a White Sox guy. So you're like, we won.
Bet with your head, not with your heart.
True. All right, so this one broke during the show. Bob Nightingale with the tweet, the Mariners rotation, which had been so healthy the past couple seasons, used just 6 starters last year, which is insane. I mean, for context, the Dodgers have used 11 already this season. Now the Mariners are missing 60% of their starting rotation. Bryce Miller hits the shelf. He's on the IL along with Logan Gilbert and George Kirby. This is what I've been talking about for years with the Mariners. I was on their radio station or there, whatever. I was on a Seattle station yesterday. I'm on with Stacy and Michael. They're 2 great hosts that cover Seattle sports, and I don't remember the station's name. Sorry. I was like, for the past couple years, most normal teams deal with a lot of starting pitching injuries. So this is going to bite them eventually. And here it goes. Now, luckily for Mariners fans, you do have what looks like a better offense and a much better contact rate. But we're now down 3 starters in this rotation. 2 of them are aces. The other one, I think, is a number 3. Bryce Miller's good.
Yeah.
So how bad is this?
Bad? Because I don't know what the depth is. Woo's been good for him this year. Castillo, how important is it they didn't trade him? Maybe they knew someone. They didn't trade Luis Castillo. But this is what happens in today's game. You can't count on them. They did it all year last year. All those guys took 30 starts almost and took the ball every 5 days, and now it's catching up to them. And it's because, again, I'll go back by this. I'll stand by this. Guys are not conditioned to take the ball every 5th day. They're just not.
Right elbow inflammation for a team that has, if it's not the medical staff, they've done a great job of finding pitchers that have had durability, but the injury bug's biting the arms this year, Kratz. Kirby had the shoulder, right? And he is on track to return somewhat soon. Logan Gilbert has the classic precursor to what could be a more devastating injury. Elbow inflammation for Bryce Miller is not what you like to hear either.
Mm-mm.
This was catastrophic last year for this team. It would have been catastrophic. I think the changes that they've made offensively are sustainable. So if I'm believing that, then I have to believe that this team can carry themselves through this time, because they're not just a starting rotation team. Their bullpen is awesome. And then you get to Andres Munoz, who, by the way, hasn't given up a run yet this year. So they not only have length in the bullpen, that's going to be tested now, and it might come back to bite them in July and August. But right now, the offense is not making them win all 2-1 games. They're putting up 5 or 6. So last year, this would have been devastating. Maybe not this year.
It's just like you finally, at least for a little bit of time, crack a code on offense, and now this. Kirby, by the way, could be back this month. I mean, he's going through his rehab process right now. His rehab starts, coming back from the shoulder. Gilbert sounds like he's still a ways away. And now with Miller, we'll see what the timeline ends up being.
Gilbert, my Cy Young pick, out the window.
Yeah, no. My guess would be mid-June at the earliest,
Maybe.
if not later.
I mean,
yeah.
If he's back,
This could
that's
be one of those
awesome.
situations. I'm just saying, this could be one of those situations where Seattle ends up with a top 10 offense that makes much better contact, plays a better brand of baseball for that ballpark, and they miss the playoffs by a game with a 53.5% winning percentage. And this year it was the starting rotation, which they had so heavily relied on. It could happen.
you're right.
Rooting for Seattle fans to get a little bit of love, but this one's tough because it's funny to say it, AJ, but it's top heavy. And by top heavy, I don't mean like 1, 2, or 3. I mean, they had a really sick 5. After that, it gets dicey.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys are going to have to step
Bullpen's
up.
been really good, though, too.
Bullpen's really good, but now the bullpen's going to get more of a strain. This is what you always bring up. The guys that they're missing are length guys. Now it's what are we going to get from Logan Evans? What are we from Emerson Hancock? These guys are going to get full share starts for a while.
Yeah, they got to be good. They got to be good. Just be good enough to get the ball to the bullpen and give them a chance, because the offense is swinging it. So
Yep,
don't be great. Just be good.
bats are good.
What up, FT Nation? All right, listen, look, we missed the last bet, but I mean, this is how you roll. You just double up. So we're going 200 on the next bet. The next bet, we taking the Dodgers and the Reds because they're playing two horrible teams, and the Rockies and the White Sox. So you parlay them together, put 200 on it, and let's get that cheese.
You know what I feel like starting to happen to Pap? And this happens to all of us great bettors. He's losing his energy a little bit to me. Like, he used to have a little more energy. He used to bring it. Now he's just taking the low-hanging fruit. Like, Pap, I need more out of you.
Wait,
I need more out of you, Pap.
he's actually
The A's are not a horrible team. That's what he said. They're not a horrible team.
He said Rockies and White Sox. The Rockies are playing the Rangers, Pap. So
Yeah, I
he said
know.
the wrong Dodgers and Reds. He said the wrong team. He's so used to picking on the Rockies and White Sox, but the Dodgers are playing the A's.
That's what he said. He said two horrible teams. He goes, the A's and the White Sox are horrible. I'm
No,
like,
he
A's
said
are-
the Rockies and the White Sox.
Oh, well, he picked the Dodgers, who are playing the A's.
The Rockies are playing the Rangers, Pap.
Yeah, he's confused.
We love you. And it's classic Pap that he's going to be like, damn, I wanted to pick Texas, and he's going to get this one right. He's going to nail this. I'm going heavy Dodgers and Reds tonight on that parlay. But for me, I'll go Mets run line. I like the Holmes-Bailey-Falter matchup. Mets crush left-handed
You know what?
pitching.
That was my original bet,
Really?
and then I changed it. So you're
It's
welcome.
still
You're,
steep.
you're welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to be cursed right now.
Yeah, you're welcome.
There's a lot going on with our bets lately. But Mets run line, they got to win by 2 or more. Minus 135. I'm going 270 to win 200 to try and get myself back close to level. Let's talk about the MLB parlay boost token as you're looking at the final bets here that were being placed for tonight's matchups, including Kratz with a plus 340 piece tonight on his parlay. But you can use that parlay boost token and activate it for an MLB parlay. Get yourself a bigger payout if your parlay wins. Only on the BetMGM app. Gambling problem or concern? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Be right back to talk about a retirement announcement that was made today. It's not me.
Darn it.
Let's slap. Congratulations to Matt Carpenter, calling it a career. 14 big league seasons, including 12 with the St. Louis Cardinals. They love him out there. I'm sure he'll be active special assistant maybe to the Cardinals.
I'm sure he'll have one of those red jackets they give all the Cardinal people one day.
Yeah.
Oh, Carpenter.
Can we get him on the show?
Red jacket to everybody. You got to retire it.
What? You got a what?
Reds Hall of Fame?
You got to be
Cardinals Hall of Fame.
Cardinals Hall of Fame.
That's what I just said.
Get in?
He'll get in.
Yeah, he'll get in, Kratz.
To the Cardinals Hall of Fame.
Yes. David Freese was going in.
Yeah,
he said no. Matt Carpenter had
some big hits.
Career. So did Matt Carpenter.
Carp's getting in. Can we get him on the show?
Okay.
I can call him.
Text him. Just be like, come on. I mean,
talk
just
to
be like, you got
Carpenter.
nothing to do now. Come on and let's talk.
He doesn't have anything. He never did anything when he played. So I mean, that's same.
He was a DH before there was a DH.
Oh,
in the
seriously,
NL.
He used to get made fun of so bad. It was so great, by the way. He used to get made fun of by Matt Holliday so bad.
Max Muncy tomorrow. Max Muncy alert on the show.
The Dodgers, Max Muncy.
True.